that bigness is a response to the fact that metropolitan places have become sort of like globalized and like chaotic, and the actual one individual building, it doesn't really mean anything anymore. Like the Empire State Building used to be a sight to see and everyone was so impressed by this one building. But Rem Koolhaas says that people don't feel that way about one building anymore because they're surrounded by structures all the time. And so the way for the architect to kind of create a new, to create an impact on people is to create something that's very, very large. Is that what it is? Or no?
I think almost the same idea.
Okay, so what, like, I guess the threads that I'm having a hard time, like, in your paper right now understanding is there's, like, the globalization thread, there's something about architecture not mattering anymore, and then there's something about skyscrapers. But, like, I'm having a hard time, like, connecting them together. Like, what is...
The globalization is the first reason caused this.
Globalization is the thing that causes. It's the reason that Koolhaas thinks that this should exist.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about globalization? Just the fact that there are lots of buildings that look the same and there's no kind of local architecture anymore?
Because all the information can be shared through the internet or something else, so that will make the cities almost the same qualities. So it's very hard to keep their own local organization.
Okay, so it's hard for a building to kind of stand out in one place because all buildings sort of end up looking the same no matter where they are. Okay, so how does bigness respond to that problem?
I think Rem doesn't try to solve the problem. He just know this happened, and he just want to show people that, well, now this happened. Because people is very messy. They don't know the word is kind of not for people, maybe for architects, it's a kind of struggle to think what the new project they need to build, because all the things is the same, the environmental, most part of the environmental is
So he's saying that we should fight against this, like that we should not let things all look the same, or?
I think he just tried to say that, well, now this happened, we don't need to struggle with it. We don't need to try to solve the problem. We just need to follow the problem and see what we can build.
Okay, so go with it. So the reason that he creates these really big buildings is to kind of stand out in an area.
I think
the scale, like, is the only thing that can kind of impose itself on an area, or?
I think yes, because when the building become huge, that means the inside space will become more complex. So that will just show us the city.
That will bring more like complexity to the city, and so it'll make it feel less like just like another globalized building.
I think so. I said in my paper that I feel like Koolhaas is more like an artist. That's the reason I think he solved with the project, just like the artwork to show people what he thinks. He's not just use the artwork to solve the problem.
Okay, so I think just like clarifying for your reader more like what the different threads of like what bigness is. I still read the paper and it's still really hard for me to understand exactly what this theory is. I kind of understand it, but I think we need to make it like even more clear, especially because that's like the title of your paper. And I think the most interesting part of your paper is the end where you say that there's like an architect slash artist and his vision, and then there are the people responding to it, and they live in this place, and they're like, we don't really appreciate this or like this place, and so there's kind of like a disconnect between the artist slash architect's vision and then the actual users. I think that's really a very interesting part of your paper. I don't know if we can kind of integrate it like earlier, but I think that's like one part of your paper, but the part that's kind of still needs developing is like understanding exactly what bigness is, like what the theory actually means. Okay? Yeah. All right, thank you.